is Iraide Sticiano, and this is my summary from History of the English Language. The first topic is Old English. All the period from 450 to 1150 is known as Old English. It is sometimes described as a period of full inflection because during this period the ending of the noun, verbs, and adjectives are preserved more or less unimpaired. The vocabulary of Old English is almost purely Germanic, and Old English is a synthetic language. The dialects from Old English are Northumbrian, West Saxon, Kentish, and Mercian. Old English in literature. The language of a past time is known by the quality of its literature. The greatest single work of Old English literature is Beowulf. Topic is foreign influences on Old English. In the course of the 700 years of its existence in England, it was brought into contact with at least three languages: the languages of Celts, Scandinavians, and Romans. From each of these contacts, it shows certain effect, especially addition to its vocabulary. Um, the influence of Celtic in Old English cover mostly Celtic place names. For example, York, Winchester, London, Arran, and so on. The, there are three main Latin influences in Old English: the Zero period or the continental borrowing, the first period, the Latin through Celtic transmission, and the second period, the Christianization of Britain. The some examples of words from the Latin influences are cedar, camel, ginger, apostle, and so on. The Scandinavian influence. The Danes founded the Dukedom of Normandy and finally conquered England. The most notable evidence of this is the large number um, of places that bear Scandinavian names. For example, Derby, Grimsby, and Brooke was the Norman conquest. This was another event that had a greater effect on the English language. This event was in 1066, and there was three main rivals for the throne. The first one was Harold Godwinson, Harald Hardrada, and William of Normandy. Even though Harold Godwinson was crowned the King of England, Hardrada and William of Normandy made plans to invade England. Finally, William of Normandy won the Battle of Hastings and he eliminated his rivals. So on Christmas Day 1066, he was crowned the King of England. After 200 years, no, sorry, for 200 years after the Norman conquest, French remained the language of ordinary intercourse among the upper classes, while the language of masses remained English. By the end of the 12th century, a knowledge of English was not unusual among the members of the highest class. So eh, Latin and French will be found primarily in those places where the business of government was translated. Establishment of English 1200 to 1500. What causes the loss of Normandy was that the King John lost support and was viewed as a villain for stealing Isabel. With the loss of Normandy, many nobles have to decide where their allegiance lay, England or France. So, what contributed to for the diffusion of English? English made steady advances and was becoming a matter of general use among the upper classes. The Hundred Years War was a series of conflicts between kings of England and kings of France. In 1204, the process of separation was accelerated when the King of France confiscated the lands of many nobles, so they have to give up one or the other. Another reason that contributed for the diffusion of English was the promotion of a national feeling. When Edward came to the throne, England entered upon a period of consciousness of its unity. Another cause was the Black Death that killed as much as a third to half of the population. As well, we have John Wycliffe that opened the eye of the populations. And thanks to the new social freedom release, the commoner have become more confident in demanding their rights. The Peasants' Revolt is the only truly popular uprising in English medieval history. So at the beginning of the 14th century, everyone in England knew English. Another event was that in 1362, the Parliament was opened with a speech in English for the first time. So French was replaced for English in a school and in the law court. As well, Cornwall and Penkridge were responsible of a great innovation in English education. Another contribution for the English was that the King Henry V marked a turning point in the use of English in writing. And the most popular of a type of literature in English was romance, and some of the authors are Shakespeare, Chaucer, William Langland, and John Wycliffe. Topic are Middle English and Renaissance. Middle English from 1150 to 1500. It was a period of great changes, and English was affected in both its grammar and its vocabulary. Some of them were the result of the Norman conquest. Some characteristic of the Middle English are the loss of inflections that made the language easier and more flexible. As well, in literature, we have during Middle English Canterbury Tales by Chaucer, the Sir Gawain and the Green Knife, and the Pearl Poet. Many French words were incorporated in English vocabulary in some areas like art, beauty, administration, love, and so on. There were four dialects, for example, the East Midland, the West Midland, the Northern and Southern dialect. The Renaissance was a period that saw the reintroduction of classical learning and, and literature, leading to a massive influx of Greek and Latin vocabulary into English. Scholars, writers, and poets not only introduced a new lexicon, but also they introduce new concepts and new ways of thinking. As well, we have the printing press that help standardize English grammar and spellings, that making the language more more accessible to a broader audience. And to conclude, another achievement was the Johnson's Dictionary.